History isn't a smooth ascent. It's a turbulent sequence of collapses, catastrophes, and narrow escapes. Each century holds at least one moment so extreme that people believe the world, as they knew it, was ending. This is the journey through humanity's worst times, the events that reshaped eras and forced civilizations to begin again. Before the counting of centuries, asteroid impacts. Long before humans or written history existed, extinction came from the sky. 66 million years ago, an asteroid the size of a mountain slammed into Earth and triggered a global winter. The dinosaurs vanished, and the planet was forced into a reset, a cosmic warning long before anyone was there to understand it. Only long afterward would humanity learn how fragile the balance between life and annihilation truly is. 8th millennium BCE, the Toba super eruption. Around 74,000 years ago, the Indonesian volcano Toba erupted with a force humanity has never witnessed again. Nearly 2,000 cubic kilometers of ash were blasted into the atmosphere, plunging the planet into a global winter. According to the Toba catastrophe theory, early humans may have been reduced to only a few thousand individuals, a near-extinction event inscribed into our genetic history. 12th century BCE, the Bronze Age collapse. Around 1200 BCE, several interconnected civilizations across the Mediterranean collapsed almost simultaneously. Trade networks disappeared, cities burned, and writing systems vanished. A combination of severe drought, disrupted trade, large-scale migrations, and widespread conflict hit these complex societies at once. A chain reaction no empire could survive. It was as if the lights of the ancient world were extinguished at once. 2nd century, the Antonine Plague. In 165 CE, a devastating pandemic swept through the Roman Empire for 15 years. At its peak, up to 2,000 people died each day, and nearly 1/3 of the population was lost. Contemporary accounts describe high fever, severe coughing, intense diarrhea, and pustular skin rashes, symptoms consistent with a likely smallpox infection. Rome's strength eroded, and its sense of invincibility fractured. Even the greatest empire on Earth learned that no army could stop an enemy it could not see. 5th century, the fall of the Western Roman Empire. In the 5th century, centuries of decay and political fragmentation finally led to collapse. In 476 CE, the last Western Roman emperor was deposed, ending a world order that had lasted for 500 years. Europe fell into division and uncertainty. For ordinary people, this meant life without reliable protection. Roads became dangerous, supply systems broke down, hunger spread, and local warlords often decided by force what counted as law. 6th century, the Plague of Justinian. In 541 CE, the first major bubonic plague pandemic struck the Eastern Roman Empire. Constantinople lost nearly half its population, and the empire's ambitions collapsed. For centuries, the plague returned in deadly waves. Contemporary accounts describe high fever, sudden chills, swollen and blackened lymph nodes, severe pain, delirium, and mortality rates high enough to empty entire streets. Each new wave reminded survivors that history could break them again at any moment. 13th century, the Mongol conquests. The Mongol Empire expanded with terrifying speed. Entire cities were wiped out, centers of knowledge destroyed, and millions killed. It was a violent reshaping of Eurasia through fire and fear, and the persistent smoke rising from the ruins showed that hardly any place was safe from the Mongol campaigns. 14th century, the Black Death. Between 75 and 200 million people died as the plague swept across the known continents. In a few years, nearly half of Europe was gone. Faith, social order, and daily life collapsed. Contemporary accounts describe high fever, painfully swollen lymph nodes, dark skin discoloration, foul-smelling wounds, bleeding from the mouth and nose, and sudden weakness, symptoms that often killed within days. 17th century, the 30 Years' War. From 1618 to 1648, one of Europe's most brutal conflicts devastated entire regions. Villages were looted and burned, fields destroyed, and livestock stolen or slaughtered. Famine spread as planting and harvesting became nearly impossible. Diseases like typhus and plague followed the armies, killing more people than many battles. In some areas, the population fell by more than a third, and children who survived grew up among ruins, knowing only soldiers, violence, and fear. 19th century, Tambora and the Carrington Event. The eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815 triggered a global supply crisis. Ash dimmed the sun, temperatures plummeted, and 1816 became known as the Year Without a Summer, causing harvest failures and widespread famine. Decades later, the Carrington event revealed how vulnerable early technology was, as a massive solar storm overloaded telegraph networks and sparked fires. Together, these events showed how easily natural forces could destabilize global systems. 20th century, the era of mega-death. World War I, 1914 to 1918. World War I turned Europe into an industrial battlefield. Millions of soldiers endured months in trenches filled with mud, cold, artillery fire, and poison gas. Four empires collapsed, around 20 million people died, and an entire generation was marked by trauma, injury, and loss. World War II, 1939 to 1945. World War II destroyed entire nations and targeted civilians on an unprecedented scale. Cities were firebombed, millions displaced, and the Holocaust murdered 6 million Jews. Over 70 million people died. The atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki revealed the destructive power of a weapon capable of erasing civilization in seconds. The nuclear age and other catastrophes. After the war, nuclear danger became permanent. The Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962 brought the world minutes from annihilation, and in 1983, Stanislav Petrov prevented a retaliatory strike after a false warning of a US missile launch. The late 20th century became a tightrope walk over a nuclear abyss, where a single mistake could have ended the human story. Other disasters included the Tunguska explosion in 1908 and the 1918 flu pandemic that killed around 50 million people, as well as the 1986 Chernobyl meltdown that contaminated large parts of Europe. 21st century, the modern age of anxiety. The 2008 financial crisis revealed how quickly global systems can collapse. The 2013 Chelyabinsk meteor showed that cosmic threats still exist. And beginning in 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic pushed global health systems and supply chains to their limits. Today, economic, technological, and biological risks overlap like never before. We live in an age where stability can vanish overnight, and a single spark can throw the world out of balance. From history to possibility. History shows that humanity survives by adapting, not by standing still. But today's risks, climate collapse, engineered pathogens, runaway AI, nuclear escalation, test us on a scale no civilization has ever faced. The next worst time hasn't been written yet, but the choices we make now will determine whether we must face it or prevent it. If you liked this video, subscribe for more like this.